a few questions.
No, yeah. Now my brain is starting to get working as the call continues. Okay, so here let's finish off the video, and then you could ask the questions pertaining to this video, and then we'll get into the next video because the next video is really where I want to comment on because you did a lot of things. Yeah, let's just put it like that.
Just not,
So
bro.
let's continue watching the rest of this video. We already
Just
know
because
you
I'm
get
so
stopped out of
unclear.
break even.
See that? It's crazy. That is
Order filled.
that is crazy. So yeah, I'm not trying to be in that. I'm gonna put an indicator here that I started at break even.
Yep. So we got that.
It's disgusting to me, and I absolutely that's what I've been caught in all week. Some sort to this 5 minute bullish.
Okay, so before your questions, we're gonna do a quick recap on this trade and everything we analyzed throughout this trade. So, solid trade idea, solid short, right? But first off, um, your narrative. You need to focus on your narrative first before you go in and oh, Mr. Ant, did you? Oh, he.
No, no, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here. I'm here.
oh, oh! I didn't know where you went. You
Wait,
kind of just
wait, hold
disappeared.
on.
Oh, I was
Hold,
like,
hold,
I was like, where'd you go? Okay.
Are you good? Okay.
So, first off, you weren't focused on any internal draws, marking out the internal draws first. When going into trading days, I want you to first focus on marking out internal draws, having an understanding, hey, where price action could potentially draw toward, rather than doing all the technicals first and then figuring it out along the way. Now, some people like to do that opposite. I don't know why, but 99% of people mark out their draws first and then allow the trade idea and confluence to align with that draw. So we know the five fundamentals: bias, narrative, context, entry. But how I want you to focus on it is narrative. So focusing on your draws first, which you typically do. But internal draws you lack marking that out. I'll show you how I mark out internal draws as well because it seems like you're having a little bit of trouble doing that. And then context, which is the confluence, and then your entry and risk management, right? Okay, cool. Now, what else do we have? Let's go back to the video. Showed you how to mark out proper change of state of delivery. This was a little wonky change of state of delivery. Just for this, let's do one more example of change of state delivery. Let's go. You can see my screen?
Yeah, I can see perfectly.
Okay. Right. I'm just scrolling through the chart real
Damn.
fast. Wait, because I wanted to completely be random. Okay, here. Tell me where the change of state delivery is here.
Okay. Well, I can tell you right there where we swept those
Here?
that previous low. Yeah, right
Okay,
there. But I
perfect.
was also looking at another one as well. There's another one up ahead. That
Where's the
a little
change of
bit.
state
Well,
delivery?
we'll focus on this one first. The
Yep.
change in stated delivery would be, um, well, it doesn't look like it will be a winning trade, but it'll be at that most recent high
Here?
right there. That would be the change in stated
Yep.
delivery.
Any displacement above this is the change of state
Yeah.
delivery. This would
Right.
have been a.
Although it wouldn't be a winning, but
Yeah, it would have.
it is a change.
This price action continue to the upside. It's a larger change of state delivery,
Oh, yeah, 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 no, no,
but
no. I mean, it just
yeah,
depends where.
it's kind of chunky. But yeah, now you have understanding here. Let's do one more real quick. Just go right here. Where's the change of state delivery to the downside? This one's a little. It's not tricky.
To the downside. Um. Okay.
What
Well,
internal
I
did we
mean,
take?
yeah, we took the that most recent right there.
Yep. Now where's the change of
Okay.
state delivery?
The change in stated
The
delivery would be
Yep.
right. Well, the low got swept there, so it continued a little higher. Uh Honestly, this one looks a little tricky to me. Um, I don't want to guess it.
Give your
It's,
best guess.
I mean,
Remember, where's the low we displaced below? We took out this high
it's not that
in
high.
order to validate a change of state delivery. We have to hold up. Bang, 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 bang. Where is this low? We took out this high, formed a new high. Where is this low that we need to displace below?
Yeah, then it would be
Here?
yeah, right there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was thinking.
yeah. The
Okay.
displacement below this low was the change of state delivery. It was a little tricky. You could see it was super, super late actually. That's why I do have that second model, micro change state delivery, because for me it would have been right here. But like I said, go into that in the future. So bam, okay, we understood change state delivery in this first vid. Okay, cool.
Inverse.
And then we also mentioned how this is a different type of model than your regular one. Why? Because you're executing on a retracement back into the change state of delivery rather than a fair value gap, whatever. So that adds another model. So something we need to go filter out. Risk management. You're risking pretty heavy on this trade. When your stop loss, you move constantly. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. You constantly moving your limit orders, and stop loss is a result of emotion. You're being emotional during the trade. All that idea behind it is emotion. You setting your stop loss at break even out of nowhere just because price was consolidating was an emotional decision. What was that emotional decision trying to, I don't know, hide or whatnot? I don't know how to say it, but you weren't willing to continue to allocate the risk you had on the trading day. You didn't want to lose any more money. You were focused on P&L rather than the actual trade itself, and that caused you to move your SL to break even, getting stopped out. So what do we need to do? We need to fully create an understanding, and I guess for you, create your own model of how you want to manage your risk and how you want to manage your trade. Because you setting your stop loss at break even, getting stopped out for no reason, yeah, that will negatively affect you in the sense of causing you to fumble and create habitual emotional trading habits, and we don't want that. We want everything we do to be mechanical and technical. This was not mechanical and technical, right? So we'll create that later. And
No.
what else? Yeah.
You did also recommend me to split my risk into two.
Yes, I also recommended you to do that as well because you're risking pretty heavy on these trades. I'm not gonna lie, 250. So what I would recommend is you dividing your risk into two trades per day and having that be your max loss you're willing to lose on the trading day. And now let's go into the second video because that's really where there's a lot to unpack. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
So
I think that taking L's on two funded accounts, I think that one is the one where I took two trades, and the first one was like a chaser. That's literally, yeah, that's a
yeah,
video. Yeah, yeah. Now that I remember.
but each trade was different. So we're gonna recap this one as well, and then we're gonna compare these 2 days. By compare, I mean the executions, because you'll see what I mean by the fact that when you don't backtest, the issue it causes is lack of clarity. So you end up executing on 30 different models, and you don't know until you go in and backtest, and you filter out, hey, which model is which? How am I actually executing? So let's go on this trade or this trading day. And once again, I like how you continue to post like the raw no commentary stuff. If you really want me to like help you to the best of my ability, what you can do is literally keep posting these, like the live trades, and I'll watch them, and I can help give you insight from there, whether I'm telling you in the
Yeah, I'll
Discord or
planning on
whatnot.
continue to do this
Yeah,
because
cause
it does help me when I look back on it.
yeah,
So
cause I like commenting on it even when you post in the Discord. I think it's good because everyone else can see too. Even nobody posts in the Discord. It's really just like femboy memes, but whatever.
yeah, I'm trying to get that Discord active. Trying to get this on.
I, you're trying your best. I don't know if we'll ever get it active. Maybe one day. I hope. Okay. It's actually perfect how you weren't talking here. So skip through a bit. You haven't yet marked out any highs. Marked out that. Okay. So, right here. Starting off just simply in the beginning. Here, let's watch it for a second. You're marking out that, and you did mark out the proper change of state delivery. However, what I want you to focus on executing upon and utilizing for change of state deliveries is the micro time. So 1 minute. You can use seconds, but I don't use seconds yet. But I really just focus on the 1 minute. I never ever mark out a 5 minute change of state delivery, because all my executions are focused on the 1 minute, and when I execute, I utilize change of state delivery. So if I see a change of state delivery on the 1 minute, that is my confluence to execute. Obviously, I have other confluence as well that make the trade idea. But when you mark out a change state of delivery, typically with how I trade, once you mark it out and once price changes state of delivery, you execute immediately. So don't mark out every change state of delivery on every time frame, because that'll add
Gotcha.
confusion. You'll have a
Because that's
bear.
that's also a different model as well.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. On a different time frame, because you'll mark out a 5 minute change state of delivery to the downside, and you'll have a bullish 1 minute change state of delivery, and then that'll cause lack of clarity, conflicting bias. You'll be like, okay, well, like, are we long or short? What are we doing right here? And then that's when everything goes out the
yeah,
window. So everything here you're marking out at the same time. That's fine. You have your internal draw, so good. You know, But one thing you failed to realize right there is you already took out internal draw. This was Wednesday. So it was, or Thursday. What day was it? Thursday. Right here, you already took out your internal draw. You failed to realize the SMT, which is completely fine. I'm not expecting you to be a, SMT expert on every single time frame. But right here, this was data high, and you ended up, what time frame were you on? The 5 minute? Yeah, you ended up already taking internal low. Sure, you had these lows down here, which is completely fine, but if we go on the higher time frame, let's see. Yeah, you already took out hourly internal. I want you to focus on really emphasizing internal liquidity and the proper internal liquidity. And I'll show you how to do that too. Because sometimes it seems like, you have an understanding of price action, but your draws are a little iffy, so you end up missing some things. Like for this trade, you were looking to continue to the downside, and note that bearish bias was correct when you were up here. You traded toward the draw. You traded exactly toward where price action wanted to go, or your idea was right, you know. But once you took that draw, once you take internal, for the most part, unless you have other confluences, you don't have any reason to continue within that desired direction. You already took out internal. You don't need to take out external, especially depends how you're trading as well. If you're trading external to internal, then that's different. You could take out multiple internal draws. But if you're trading external, which is exactly what happened here, or sorry, internal. All right, I actually don't know what happened on the higher time. Let's see what happened on the higher time frames. Actually, yeah, I mean, you weren't wrong for going short, but the point I'm trying to make is when you do take out internal liquidity, chill for a minute, because you ended up missing it when we did take out internal and we ended up forming an SMT with ES. That was a confluence back to the upside, so you got caught in that reversal, and that's what I want to help you not get caught in. And I already remember this from the video, but you marked this out as a change of state of delivery. We already went over change of state of deliveries, so this was not a valid change of state of delivery. Why? Because you didn't take anything out. Yeah. Yeah. If any change of state of delivery would have been up here, but this is heavily pre-market, and I wouldn't recommend trading pre-market. You can if you want, but I haven't. I don't have any data for it, but this is still a mid change of state of delivery because you didn't even take out this data high. So there you go. That's what we have for now. Let's go back to the video.
okay. And I was hesitant on entering as well.
One thing I really wanted to say, I was kind of saving it till later, but I'll say it now. Throughout this, you lack preparation. And now you may be like, oh, what do I mean by this? Let me explain. When you execute upon a trade idea, you should already have all the understanding you need. Your last thing should simply be to execute. Let me kind of break this down because it sounds like I just yapped for a second. When I'll use an example for me. When I look to take a trade, I'm not marking everything out real, in the same time I'm looking to take a trade. Like, oh, cool, we just formed this for value up, we're doing this. Now, for some people, you can, but if you want to execute how I execute, mark out my internal draws, then I see what price action does. I mark out my internal draws, see, okay, cool, we took out internal. Did we form SMT? If we formed SMT, cool. I have everything predetermined, is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not trying to figure everything out on the fly. Like, oh, okay, just formed a 5 minute change of state of delivery. Okay, did we also form a fair value gap? No, we didn't also form a fair value. Okay, well, but we kind of had an SMT here. There's no doubt about it. I'm not marking out things I usually wouldn't mark out. I have clarity and understanding of what I'm looking for. Right here, you know, sure, you form your SMT, you form your change of state delivery, or at least the one that you marked out. You marked out the 15 minute, which is fine, I guess. And then you go on to mark out this 1 minute, and this is already completely different from how you normally trade. Because if you remember, this was 2 days ago. If we go back to the Discord, let's go right here. A couple days ago on Monday, you marked out a completely different setup. SMT internal change of state delivery inverse. But let's ignore the inverse for a second, right? Does this trade look anything like this trade? Not at all, not even in the slightest. And that's
It
what I
looks like
mean.
two different traders.
Exactly. Two different trades, two totally different models. But the difference with this trade, you had clarity. I can tell you had clarity based upon how you marked everything out. You had the bullish 4 hour fair value gap. I don't know if you marked it out beforehand or after we made the retracement, but you had a clear drawn internal. You were looking at SMT, which we clearly did. You looked at that change of state delivery to the downside, even though the proper change of state delivery was right here.
Yeah.
I hope you acknowledge that within this call now.
I acknowledge that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Everything was quote predetermined. You had clarity on what you were looking for. You weren't trying to mark it out real time, be like, okay, well, we just also formed this fair value gap as well after the change state, so maybe this is a good setup. You had understanding. That's what I want you to have, understanding and clarity. Because when you don't, then your trading becomes mumbo jumbo. So let's go back to the video
Exactly.
right here.
And for days that maybe I do lack clarity, like
Yeah.
do you have those days where you lack
Oh,
clarity as well,
100%,
or like you feel
100%, 100%.
so on the days that I would lack clarity,
Mm-hmm.
you would recommend just watching, keeping your hands tucked, and
Okay,
just look and just trying to, or just backing away. What would you do?
okay.
What do you do on those days?
Here's what I mean by lack of clarity. Lack of clarity in the moment. Throughout the trading day, if you had to ask me, like, hey, do you lack clarity on the entire trading day? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way I lack, unless we're just, doing nothing. And to do nothing, we really have to do nothing.
Yeah.
Consolidate. Like, some people were like, on Friday, oh, we we lack. Now this is on here. Let's go on ES. Oh, we lack clarity on Friday because we were just consolidating. Okay, sure, on the lower time frames, yeah, but when you go on the higher time frames, you can start to get a gauge on, hey, what potential draws are. Now, that doesn't mean you'll be right every single. I'm not saying you'll be right every single time. That's not what I'm trying to say. But having an understanding on, hey, where potential draws are, that's having clarity. Now, that doesn't mean you typically have to execute. So, for you asking me what I would do on those days of lack of clarity, I would still execute. I would still execute because I don't necessarily have lack of clarity for the entire day. Now you may be like, okay, Lonnie, you're saying all this, but like get to the point. The main reason why I don't have lack of clarity all day is because of my back testing. That data
Right.
is what prevents you from having lack of clarity. You understand? When you have the data and the understanding, which is built by the data, um, or backed by the data, it allows you to continue to have clarity throughout the trading day. And that's what I want you to have. I want you to have clarity throughout the trading day, not just solely in this specific moment, because you'll have times where you'll be like, hey, price action isn't really doing much, there's not really any clarity within this moment on where we're looking to go. And those are the times where I don't trade. So, and that to me is low probability price action. But low probability price action is based upon my model. Everybody says, oh, today was low probability. And then you'll open TikTok or open something or YouTube or whatever, and the day that looked low probability to you would have looked solid probability to someone else or high probability to someone else. And that's based upon their model. That's based upon how they execute. Now, there are some days where it's just horrible price action, right? For everybody, maybe. But typically, I found that lower probability price action is subjective to how the trader trades and what they look for, the clarity they have within their model. Because you see some, if you go on TikTok, you see some traders, they win every single day. They have all back to
Yeah.
back to back to back to back green days, and it's on top step X, and they can't fake the data or whatnot. And some people look at like, oh my gosh, how'd you win every single? They have clarity and understanding based upon their model, based upon their back testing, based upon their live trading, to know, hey, I know when to avoid trades, and when I take, low probability losing trades, that's fine. That's why they allocate their risk. Usually, those people take multiple trades a day, and they go in again. Waiting for a clear understanding. So if you don't execute due to lack of clarity, even when a model presents itself, that could potentially be fear of you losing the trade. Then that's when you go into, you focusing too much on probability, or not probabilities, profits, right, instead of progress. But in this moment, I don't want you doing that, because that'll negatively impact how you learn and refine the model, because you'll start to build a habit for executing upon low probability trades. Um, According to that model. So, any more questions before we continue forward? Or did I just yap?
No, no, no. That like literally, you've answered most of my questions
Okay.
already.
So,
If I have another question, I'll ask.
okay. Yeah, yeah. So, this right here, right now, there's no clarity within this. And I could tell because you're marking out everything on the fly. But most importantly, I could tell based upon how you executed. And we'll see right now in 1 second.
Are you gonna cook me, bro?
Not yet. You'll see. I'll have a
I
reason to cook
remember.
you because
I remember this like it was yesterday.
Anthony.
It was 2 days ago.
That's because it was
Oh,
it was basically
But
yesterday.
I look back like on my first video, like how I used to trade,
Hmm.
and it's nothing like how I'm trading now.
Yeah, it's
And my
completely
mindset
different.
is completely different. It's crazy how you can change and adapt so
Yeah,
quickly.
and
So
and you have yeah, and you
when
still
did
have the ability to change and adapt even quicker. You just
no,
have to do the right thing and consume the right information. Okay, so let's continue because your execution here was brutal. I actually started laughing when I was watching this video. I'm not gonna lie. Right here. Look at you're like, okay, well, we had SMT, we have the fair value. I can see your cursor marking everything out. You're like, okay, well, it's solid enough. Okay, this right here, we need to comment on, cause you may have not found an issue with this. I don't know if you did. If this would
Oh,
have,
this is the issue. I did notice this issue.
well, I'm glad you did. But if this would have been a winning trade, that's the thing. I hope you still would have noticed the issue. But the thing is, the issue is, I doubt you would have, because you would have been caught up in the win. Firstly, or first off, this SL is egregious. I could keep using multiple examples. We'll literally use the example from the video you posted right after this that we just watched, all the way over here. Your SL is above the high. This trade was egregious. Now we do have those times where
Yeah.
trades are just ball sack, and that's fine. But we'll go on to see what happened with the next trade. Um, but this SL,
It's horrendous.
it's horrendous. It's not even above the fair value gap if you make a retracement for this is just a random. This is a random trade. This is what I call a random trade. This is butt booty ball sack in my personal opinion. Um, that, to be honest, I don't really know what's going on here. It's
Bro,
kind.
you could see the regret in my face as
I
soon
know,
as I
bro.
answered, bro.
You
Like, you
did you hear what you said after you closed the trade? You
no,
started
no,
cuss.
no.
Oh, you started cussing yourself out. You're like, I can't believe I just. It was funny. Okay, but yeah. Firstly, this is exactly what I'm still showcasing: lack of clarity, executing on multiple different things, And you can tell this trade was impulsive, not only based upon where your stop loss was, but how you were marking everything out beforehand. You weren't looking to place your stop loss in the most probable location. You didn't even try, really. You kind of just balls to the wall with this trade, hoping it'd continue to the downside. You'd make $500 and be able to
I was
call it a day.
gambling. I was gambling.
Yeah, which is fine, as long as we acknowledge that. But let's see what happens real quick. Because I'm pretty sure it was pretty quick. Where was it? Oh, yeah, it was right here. So you start going down a little. Mentally, you're probably like, okay, maybe you're beginning to validate this idea. Then price reverses immediately.
Order
You're
filled.
like, hell no. Hey, look, you shake your head no. You're like,
Order filled.
you start mumbling on
We're gonna do this shit. We're gonna do it the right way.
it. You're like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it the right way. You're like, bro, no. Which is good. You caught yourself after. You're like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it the right way. And
Work at 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, I the look of regret.
yeah, so yeah, but you realize right after, you're like, hey, this is, yeah, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. So let's do it right. I'm glad you acknowledge that as well. Going back into it now, we can skip forward a little. Price action does its thing. Still marking that out. Note, I don't know why you marked out that little high right there. That's not a swing high. You should have marked out the top of that wick. But if you were gonna mark out anything, but that's fine. Um, that's when you marked out this odd looking change of state of delivery. But this is what are you alive, Mr. Ant?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
This
Oh,
is
oh.
this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example of what I mean by this is all impulsive. You're marking note. You had this before. You just shorted this, and you didn't acknowledge this change of state of delivery. Now you're looking for another trade, so you're marking out random confluences. This is impulsive. This is due to lack of clarity, like I said, due to not having consistency within your model. Don't worry, yes, I know I keep saying that, but I'm just trying to emphasize the point. So in the future, when you look back at this, you'll be like, oh, what Lonnie was commenting on was true. Now that I do have clarity with my model and understanding and I'm consistent, I was doing mumbo jumbo. But this is all impulsive. You just marked out this random change of state, and let's say it was an actual change of state delivery, you still just marked it out of the blue. It wasn't like anticipated. It wasn't like, you know what, we just had a change of state delivery, let me wait for a retracement into it. It was like, no, here's a random change of state delivery, and we still have the bearish fair value gap. Let's see what happens in it. Maybe price action continues. You're still looking for shorts. You end up
Order
forming that
filled.
SMT, and then you execute. The best thing about this trade is probably the fact that you waited for the SMT, because you had to wait for the SMT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because SMT isn't something you could really like. Well, actually, you can predetermine an SMT. I do it, but for the most part, like, you have to wait for the candle to close in order to see whether or not, hey, did we SMT? Unless the divergence is just huge and it's like, okay, yeah, we're most likely going to SMT. So you execute, and then blood clot, like, your SL is still in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if you have it on Top Step where it's fixed, but if it is, we need to change that because that is ridiculous. Let's go to NQ.
Yeah. I think that my SL placement on there, like I thought it was valid because it was above the bearish fair value gap.
Sure, which is fine, but I just want to comment on the previous trade looked like this.
discuss.
Okay, this is where your SL was. Okay. This where was it? I don't know. Here, let's just say here,
Somewhere around there.
somewhere around
Yeah.
here. Doesn't matter. This is where your SL was. Now, okay. Every other trade, you have your SL above the swing high
Right.
after you took out liquidity and the change to say delivery.
And this one's
Um,
just completely.
this, yeah, I'm gonna keep using this trade on Monday as an example because it's a perfect A plus example you can continue to utilize going for. Like, you sent all the images. Actually, this is perfect. You sent all the image. You sent this in the Discord. You sent
Yeah.
this one, and then you sent this one that looks nothing like it. SL isn't anywhere near where this one is. Like, two totally different trades. If you wanted any like relativity, this SL should have been above the SMT, above the swing high. If you wanted to at least kind of try, um, and I'm not even gonna comment on this one, because we're commenting on that right now, and definitely not gonna comment on the first short you just took.
Well, I
So
was certainly humbled.
yeah, which is fine. That's why I'm here, I guess. But and then you look like look at your face. Sorry. Price action just doing his thing, and then at this point you just let price action do his thing, and then you got molested later. Continuing to sit within that consolidation.
I was demolished.
Yeah, you were obliterated pretty bad. But like I said, you also got caught in the reversal. You were trading against yeah, liquidity. You took out internal sell side and you shorted. Don't worry, I know I shorted too. But the main premise is I was looking along before I shorted.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, I'm just joking with you. And then you get raped right around here. I love how whenever anybody trades, they're not focusing on the trade until the right as they're about to get stopped out, like their concentration. Sorry, I just find that I go on TikTok live and this happens to me too. I'm just like, I don't know. I just find everyone's like, am I gonna hit so? Am I gonna hit so? Am I gonna hit so?
Order filled.
And then order filled. But this part, dang, that right there, that was beautiful. I like how you locked yourself out. I actually don't know what you did. Did you lock
Order
yourself
filled.
out?
Locked myself out.
That was yeah. This was probably this was the best decision on the trading day. This was A plus right here. And now you may think I'm saying this just to say, but I'm being so serious. The discipline to understand, hey, like I hit my max loss for the day. I just took 2 losses and immediately you don't understand how difficult it is for some people to lock themselves out that quickly. Some people can't lock themselves out. Like I've heard a bunch of traders talk about like the one issue people have in trading is not knowing when to get off. And the fact that you had the discipline to do this immediately showcases a huge sign of growth because guess what? You used to take 7, 8 trades in a day after you took a couple losses, and then you'd end up in 40 trades of drawdown, and you have to spend 2 months getting out of drawdown. But now the fact that you can lock yourself out immediately is great. So great job on this. A plus on locking yourself out and the mental discipline of that. But the trades were ball sack. Everything was impulsive. There was no clarity behind it. There was literally no, to be honest, there was no model behind it. You kind of just threw some confluences together, cross your fingers, and hope price action continued to the downside. You have static risk on Top Step. I can tell because whenever you execute, it's the same amount of risk. We need to change that. And I need to show you how to properly execute upon this model. But
Please.
yes, which I will show you right now. But just, so you understand. Now we went in and we reviewed your trades and we reviewed their
Which was really helpful.
which I'm glad. Like I said, I hope you're recording it because you can
I am,
rewatch it and go and refine it. So the first thing I want to do, and then obviously the recording ends. you just went into the mic.
Bro, I was so disappointed. I was like, fuck,
No, where
I'm
it
so
happens.
disappointed.
It happens to be. It happens. You take this exact day. It happened to me. I was like,
Yeah.
so time to get off. But okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to comment on before we go into the model, or maybe we should just go straight into the model and then go on this later, but was the risk management and the break evens. You said you want to trade exactly how I trade. If you want to do that, then figure out how you, if you, whether or not you want to use multiple take profits or whatever the case is. Later you can, but like I told you, I don't do break evens at all. But let me show you how, I guess, exactly how.
So look, when I say exactly, I want to do exactly what you're doing.
Okay, so 1-to-1. Okay.
Yeah, 1-to-1, like replica.
Okay, okay, okay.
Duplicate.
Actually, then I'll go on FX replay for this.
And then also, if you could, I don't know, maybe your backtesting journal is a little personal.
No,
I don't
no,
know if
it's
you
not
can
at
send
all.
me a
I'm
template
sure.
with
I'm sure.
empty. Like,
What was
yeah, 'cause
that?
I really like that. Like, if you could send me your backtesting journal, so I could like put my
Yeah,
own
yeah,
data
yeah,
on
yeah,
top
yeah.
of it.
I got you. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that would be a big help.
Here, I'll just make a temporary session because I don't want this to like actually affect my data. We'll go IQ and ES. The one reason why right now in this call, I'll show you next week how I execute on ES and how I get the clarity when to and when to not, because it'll be a lot in this call. It's not enough for me to fit in this call. We just reviewed your trading because right now I'm about to go in and show you how I execute upon my model. Note, I'm just going to execute upon it quickly.
You have a 66% win rate, 384 trades.
No. This
Oh.
isn't my
Accurate?
my model, because I have a bunch of like,
Oh.
this is like random stuff. When I was testing out change state delivery, you can see it says test. This was when I was learning SMT. This is when I was trying out first percentage fair value gap. So there's a bunch of stuff here that's just like the main data is here.
On Notion.
But even still, this is mixed up with these four models. So after this year, 2024, I'm back testing. I'm going to have a whole new clean 2023 just for one specific, or just for my main specific model. So that'll be an accurate like overall win rate of data. So there's a way to like filter out the data and manage and understand it. I could show you that too, but that's later. Because right now you need to focus on models. So here, let's create this real quick. Temp and Q. Doesn't matter. Initial date, let's just go to 2022. Sure.
You're not gonna put ES on there too?
For SMT, I need it. Yeah, I forgot. I just forgot. Yeah, I do need it. Here. Okay. Let me turn this off. This is both ES and IQ. Now, note, I'm not gonna like go candle by candle because that back testing will take an hour, like hours. Sorry, but I'll show you the main premise of it so you understand. Now discard whether or not it's a win or a loss. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you execute on the same thing every single time. So you already understand higher time frame. Higher time frame is pretty easy. On the higher time frames that we're doing right now, we're diverging with ES. So got this out for our high. We've already taken on NQ. For our high, we've yet to take on ES. Simple stuff. You know the higher time frame stuff. I mean, you can mark out the little stuff if you want. Sometimes I do just do it like that. Bullish SMT. Go in the lower time frames. I don't really need to focus on the higher time frames as much right now because when you actually take the time to mark them out, swing highs and swing lows, but always mark out your swing highs and swing lows. Don't just kind of debate it. Always mark it out. And let me tell you why you always mark it out. You say you want to trade exactly how I trade. I'm going to tell you why I always mark it out. Because when you're on the lower time frames, you don't want to be, you can constantly flip through lower time frame and higher time frame, but the main thing is for the SMTs. I don't mark it out, just to mark it out. I mark it out to see the SMTs. Because, for example, let's just say we had to change the state delivery to the downside right now. Let's just, for example, cool A plus setup. We already had the higher time frame marked out. So we, this is obviously a little less prominent because it's all the way over there. But when we're on the lower time frames and we're looking at it like this, let's just say the S&T was here. Let's just say it was there, right? we're able just to quickly execute, not, it doesn't allow any room for hesitation. That's the main reason I always mark it out. Now, obviously, it's subjective. You don't need to mark it out, but for me, I always mark it out regardless. You're only marking out the swing high and swing low, and it's not like you have a million lines on your chart. And 10 times out of 10, I don't have a million lines on my chart because I hate that. So it's pretty simple. Just always mark out your swing highs and swing lows on the hourly time frames. And if you don't have any, then don't mark them out. But if you do, mark them out because majority of the time you will. So going on the hourly time frame. Yeah, just both hourly. We ain't got nothing going on. I won't typically mark out hourly for value gaps. For value gaps are the one thing I don't mark out. I just wait to see whether or not we retrace into them. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't heavily utilize fair value gaps. If we go to my data here, I do have some trades that do utilize higher time frame fair value gap. If you want to see me filter through my confluences, where is it?
Is this so organized? Damn, I need this organization.
Media time frame retracement, higher time frame. I do have trades. Okay, actually, I have a solid amount of trades with it, but I don't mark them out. I mainly just utilize as confluence. It's not something I need though. My highest win rate is higher time frame liquid. Okay, I have none. Higher time frame liquidity. You could see this is ludicrous. Yeah. When I utilize higher time frame liquidity, I like this green. I can't lie. This green win. Oh, that's nice. My win rate with higher time frame liquidity is very, very high. Because like I said, this model is used to catch reversals and overall expansions. So when you pair it with higher time frame liquidity, it's definitely useful. So, which we would have higher time frame external right there. But I don't typically mark it out. And how I mark out internal, because you may be like, well, I comment on you marking out your internal liquidity. That sucked. So how do I mark out internal? Right here we have these internal lows. You can also mark it out with ES and potentially look to SMT off of these. Whenever we mark out highs and lows, I'm mainly looking to SMT off of them. Or sweep them out and SMT off of them. That's really it. So I'll only ever mark out significant swing highs and swing lows. But since I will be on the lower time frames, I'll check if we end up forming an SMT with anything else. For example, like right here, we have this swing low, but I won't mark it out, but I'll acknowledge it. So as price action continues to develop, I'll see, hey, did we end up SMTing with this low, or are we going to go for this low and maybe SMT? Or are we just not going to SMT at all? And then we could utilize these as draws on liquidity. Oh my gosh, my throat. So that's the main technical premise of it. The higher time frame. Now let's get lower time frames. Pretty simple. Like I said, okay, this is a cool example. This is just an example. Note, we're not taking high probability trades, low probability. We're just whatever is being showcased. Actually, this is a micro change of state delivery. Sorry. Okay, there you go. Change state of delivery. So what did we just do? We just SMT'd on the lower time frames as well, right? We're looking to target internal. So we already have our draws. This is what I'm talking about. Your draws are already, quote, predetermined because you marked it out beforehand. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have your internal draws. So guess what? You have clarity on where you're potentially looking to go. I 10 times out of 10 will always look to see internal taken. So you have to see some type of internal liquidity taken, whether that's on the higher time frame or the lower time frame. If you don't get it on the higher time frame, look for it or make sure you took it on the lower time frame. Hopefully you're not confused about it, but lower time frame internal is right here. And note, I'm happy you're recording this because you could go back and watch it. This will be posted on my channel too. You formed an SMT. You always need to do the 4 things you always need to have. And your trades will always look the same if you're trading this model. Always. Internal draw. You know where you're going. SMT is SMT. You took out internal liquidity and you formed your change state of delivery. If you actually want me to write it down, like in order, you have your internal first. Always want your draw on liquidity first. I used to look for my draws on liquidity last. Don't do that. Your draws on liquidity tell you where you're going. If you don't know where your draw is, you're gambling. You have to know where your draw is, or at least have an understanding. Even if it's wrong, that's fine. Internal draw first, then you look to see internal liquidity taken. And then you see your SMT, and then you see your change state delivery. This is entry. This is confluence. This is
And you execute upon a market order, correct?
market order every single time.
Every single time. Okay.
And this is, I guess, I don't know. And this three right here, internal liquidity, SMT, change of state of delivery, these three are the model. I guess this is the whole model right here, if I'm being honest. Right? And then you execute, and then you see what happens. So in this example, let's say it doesn't really matter because I'm gonna delete the session. Where is it, bro? So you execute.
And you don't wait for the pullback. You don't wait
No.
for the pullback.
No, I
into
don't. Why? Because it's not always guaranteed. You'll have times where price action. Here, well, let's see if we see it with this. Okay, cool. We gotta stop that, whatever. But you get the main premise of it is every single time you execute on the same thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. So no, I don't wait for the pullback. Every single time, market order. Now, if you want, you can refine your own, but you say you want to execute how I execute, market order every single time upon the displacement candle. Right now, I don't want you to focus about risk reward or whatever the case is. I just want you to focus on the execution, right? Because when you focus, you'll have times where the displacement candle may not be, as generous, and your risk reward may go from let's say a 1 to 2 if the displacement is here, and the displacement's strong and it's down here to a 1 to 1. So I want you to execute upon the displacement candle regardless. That displacement candle on the change state of delivery, execute upon it regardless. Okay, so we'll literally just keep playing price, and I don't want to say execute on every change state of delivery in SMT, but I'm trying to showcase to you that every single trade, regardless win or loss, should look the same. Here's how you know you're on the right track. When every single one of your trades look the same. Remember that. That's very, very, very important for you to remember. How do you know when you're on the right track? When every single one of both your losses and your wins look the same. Obviously, if you're executing upon a probable model, it should weigh out. You should have both wins and losses, not everything losses. But after you do that, you found a probable model, whatnot, everything should look the same every single time. Unless you have different models for different things. So here, and now, for example, let's just say, that was our first trade on the day. Let's see what happens. Continue to the upside. Okay, cool. Once we take out external and ES, that's why I have the high marked out, just so we know. Just look to see, hey, what else is price action going to do? Just like to acknowledge that, go on the higher time frame C. Right now, at this point, I would be looking for a reversal to the downside. I wouldn't be looking for continuations to the upside. Why? Because, well, it's a reversal model. If I had a continuation model and we had a higher time frame draw or formed an internal draw that was higher, then I'd be looking to go long. But right now, I'm still looking to go short. So, yes, you can you may have noticed, but this little SMT right here, you can acknowledge that due to us not having a higher time frame. And if you want, sure, you can acknowledge that. Acknowledge this as a lower time frame change state delivery. That's completely fine too. And then execute upon this market order. But do you get what I'm trying to showcase you? Every single time it's the same. That's bias behind it's all the same. Sure, it looks sketch, but if we go on this here, let's go on. I'm glad I have the second time frame here. If we go on the second time frame, it's exactly what it should be. Internal, this is internal right here. You SMT'd it, change the state delivery to the downside. Do you get it? Regardless on what the time frame is on, it should look the same every single time. Now I only execute on the 1 minute, but then here you go. Then you go and execute upon this again, regardless of the outcome. Obviously, you have your internal draw too. Don't forget that. That's the most important part. So, for example, let's say we're like, hey, this is a probable reversal. Let's look to target this internal. Place order, cool. Ooh, okay, cool. Got stopped out again. We'll get it eventually. But continue to see. Hey, are we gonna SMT? What are we gonna do? Because now we have this new eye up here. And note, if you don't SMT and you change the state of delivery, you don't execute. Remember that. If you change the state, if you have everything perfect, you took out internal, change the state of delivery, you have a clear draw, but you don't SMT, you cannot execute. You can't execute because that's not the model. The model, you have to have the SMT. Because guess what that creates? A new model. Because you just went from executing on, our liquidity sweep, SMT, change the state of delivery, to now executing on liquidity sweep, change the state of delivery. That's a whole new model. And that's exactly what I did right here. I literally have that model. Wait, where is it? Liquidity sweep as, or I probably deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it. But I had.
That are grayed out, like the ones that you've been experimenting with, like.
Yeah, I had multiple. I had 2 more. I had 9 in total. You could see there's definitely not 9 here. I had M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6, M7, M8, and M9. And you could see I deleted M1, M2. M1 was liquidity sweep, change state delivery, and M5, or not M, I forgot what it was. But they were literally 30% win rate, so I deleted it. And I filtered it out with ChatGPT, went through the data with it, and so I got rid of it. But then it ends up creating a whole different model. You see what I'm trying to get at? So you always have to make sure every single trade is the same. I don't care if you win, lose, blow your account. It doesn't matter to me. Just make sure every trade is the same, because if it's not, then we can't go anywhere. We're literally, running in circles. Because, exactly, consistent cycle, lack of clarity, lack of this. So, for example, hey, we just SMT'd right here. You see what I'm trying to get at? SMT, took internal. Now, this is a sus change of state of line. I wouldn't execute upon this, but actually, we won't, because there was no... Oh, by the way, for clarity, just so you know, I always have to see a displacement above. Always have to see some sort of displacement above the internal. Now, if... Here, let me use ghost candles. Where are they? Pattern.
What is a ghost candle?
Kind of like this. So, but I mean, these aren't ghost candles. Ghost feed is right here. But bar pattern is different. This is bar pattern. So right here, for me, let's say we were looking to execute upon this short. This is how it would have to look. We'd have to body close, maybe it'd have to be more significant than this. I don't like how this looks. This is an ugly change of state of delivery. Now you can execute upon it. But like I said, that will throw in lack of clarity. Do you get what I'm trying to get at? Everything we're doing right now is for clarity. And the thing is, when you lose, you'll start to have doubts and whatnot. And, I post all my trades online, so... And everybody's like, when you're winning, nobody comments on it. Oh, good job, good job. But when you're losing, everybody likes to comment. Oh, you should have done this better. You missed out on this. You missed out on that. Ignore all of it. Even in your own mind, ignore it. Because your mind will tell you that too. But guess what it does when you continue to execute on, I guess, let's just call it trash change of state deliveries. That throws in lack of clarity, right? This... to you was an executionable change of state of delivery, and this was, then you'll start taking crappy change of state of deliveries, lowering your win rate. Like, every trade, when I mean every single trade has to look the same, every single time, it has to look the same. And if it doesn't, you don't execute. Because guess what? If you execute and it doesn't look the same, you broke your rules. There you go.
There you go. Boom.
So, would not execute upon that. Okay, let's see. Do we form any SMT back to the downside? Maybe. Hopefully. Give us something. Nothing.
Just wants to continue higher.
And if it does, that's what it does. And guess what? If a day like this, where you don't get a reversal to the upside, maybe you got one right here. No SMT, no nothing. Then you don't execute. This is for catching reversals, and if you get stopped out on reversal, that's fine. Because remember, different models for different situations. We were looking to catch a reversal here. We didn't catch a reversal. Got stopped out. Price continued the upside. Guess what? That's your one trade on the day. You're done. Right? That's just an example. You allocate your risk accordingly. You have a max loss risk on the day. And that's why I'm also, building my, or will in the future build my continuation model. Because for days like this, hey, you want to catch a continuation, you want to catch a trade, you figure it out, blah, 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 blah. But, I don't know, see if let's force
So
more
now
setups.
I got a really, really good understanding of like how you execute, and you
Yeah,
try to make
let's-
it. Well, I'm sure you make it look the same each time, like
Ev-
identical.
Here,
That's how you
let's-
reach it every fucking time.
let's, you want to see how I make it look every single time? I'll show you how I make it look every single time. This is the before image. This is a micro change state delivery. Now, you don't know about this one, but this is micro change state delivery. Let's go to my next trade. This isn't micro change state delivery, but SL is always the same. This is my execution. SL is where we SMT'd, took out internal. SL is always below there. Yes, this was a loss.
Yeah.
Yes, people are gonna be, oh, you lost. Dude, every single time. This is a huge
But it's
displacement bonus. This was a horrible trade. I'm not gonna lie. There was outlying confluence, but I was trading against trend. But same thing. Took out internal right here. SMT'd, displacement to the downside. Internal. Every single time. Every single time. Win or loss. SMT took out internal as well. But guess what? I took the trade on ES because we took out internal and ES. But SMT, micro change of state delivery, internal, same thing every single time. You will not see a single trade in here unless it's a old model that's super far. But you will never see me again execute on a way that's different. What did we do? Internal, SMT, change of state delivery. SL is in the same place every single time. Where are my targets? Internal liquidity. Every single time. You get what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I could close my eyes. Let's go here. Right down here. Okay. Oh, you can't see it because my face cam's not on, but in the recording, you'll see it. I just close my eyes, scroll down to a random part. What is this execution? Internal. SMT. I didn't mark out the SMT, but the SMT is there. And change of state delivery. What am I targeting? Internal.
And this is all back testing, right?
This is all back testing. But even live trades. Let's go to this week. Even though I'm gonna make this video after I'm done recording this, but let's go to this week. Every single trade I took. Internal liquidity. SMT. Change of state delivery. Let's go even on the trades that I lost, because yes, I do lose trades. This one was worse because this is the one time I actually utilized a limit order. It's a trash trade. It was against trend. And to be honest, I should have longed here. This was free longs to the upside. I trade against trend, low probability. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Why? SMT took out internal right here. Change in state of micro change state of delivery to downside. Looking to target internal every single time. What else? Oh, yeah, this garbage trade that was off of my trading time. But guess what? It doesn't matter. It was the same. SMT. Now this was a horrible SMT, but SMT change state of delivery looking to target internal. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Regardless of win or loss, don't let those affect you. The long that I should have taken that I ended up missing. Or did I take this? I don't know. No, I didn't. Took liquidity. There was an SMT here. The SMT is somewhere here. But the SMT is there. Micro change state delivery looking to target internal every single time. This was not my trade. That was your trade. But that's an example of how your trades look different. What else do we have? Right here. Even the days where I traded against trend and I missed my trade and broke my rule. Those are your trades. But the trade I should have longed. Quote, should have, would have, could have, right? Whatever. SMT. Took out internal. Change in state of delivery. Guess what? The trade that I shorted, that I traded against this trade idea, still the same thing. The fact that it was still the same idea. Short position, SMT, change of state of delivery. Looking to target lower internal right here. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You will not ever see me execute upon a trade idea that isn't the same. Then we go on Friday. Obviously, I didn't execute on NQ, but same thing again. Internal, SMT. The SMT was here. If you're curious, let me go back to the stupid chart. Holy macaroons, bro. I'm pretty sure it was hourly. I don't know. But every single time, it is the same thing. Where was it? Where was the SMT? It was higher time. Oh, it was here. It was on the 4 hour. Or, yeah, it was right here. These highs right here. I don't know. If you watch the trade recap, then you know. But the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, SMT was right here. Here and here. SMT, liquidity sweep, change in state of delivery every single time. Every single time.
Okay.
So, I want you to
So
remember.
I've really learned a lot from this call. I'm gonna let you know.
I'm glad. Wait, but we're not done. One
Great.
last thing I want to comment on, and I actually do mean to cut you off because this is about your trading. Now, obviously, you need to go in and backtest with it. I would highly recommend backtesting this weekend if you can before market open, because you'll probably continue to have lack of clarity for another week because you'll still have those bad habits of doing whatever. But I'll share with you my journal and you could study it and analyze it, all my trades and whatnot. And if you really want to study it, go back and watch my videos, because on my channel, I don't know, I know no one ever does this whenever they ask for help from me, but I'm posting everything. How to create dataset refined trading model, trade journal day 2, all of these. If you want to look at all of them, or maybe not down here, but everything starting from here, trade journal day 1, every trade is the same. Everything I look for the trading day is the same. Everything. My full trading model, literally, it's a 26-minute video. If you want to see me go and actually backtest an hour and 30-minute video of literally just like, the thing is, if I were to sell a mentorship one day, I'd kind of be confused why people would buy it, because they could just go. What I mean, I don't gatekeep any. You can look at everything, everything, live time, live everything, and I fully explain my model. So if you're confused, and I'm sharing with you my backtesting journal, so there's no reason why you shouldn't have an understanding of this. And if you still don't, guess what? That's completely fine. We'll go and refine. I'll help you. There's no concern with that. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff out,
I'm gonna definitely look back on your videos.
Especially, I did see those videos.
Yeah. But one
But I
last thing.
didn't see them in the entirety.
The one last thing I want to comment on is your risk management. So right now, I actually want you to remove the fixed risk, because I want us right now to create a max loss on the day, what you're comfortable losing on the day. You're going to be taking 2 trades a day now. Why? Because you want to trade all I trade. I take 2 trades a day. I allocate regular risk toward the first trade, and then de-risk half of that. So let's see.
So how would you recommend I put my settings? Do I automatically apply the risk, or should I just take this off?
No, just completely take it off.
Take it off.
Yeah, you don't need that anymore. So pertaining to your drawdown, however much, maybe you're only comfortable, risking $200 a day. Remember, this is higher RR. So you'll have days where you hit a 4 RR trade or 2 RR trade, or maybe 1.15 R. But typically it'll be 1 and 2. So if you're trying to think of my payout and $200 winning days, don't worry about that. What I want you to actually focus on is the actual trading aspect and not the risk. So this is completely your choice. You could figure this out when you're offline. But me personally, if I were you at this moment, since you're still funded, I would have a max risk of $200 a day. You can what was it? Yeah,
basically $100 per trade.
yeah, $100 per trade.
Yeah. How many
Or
contracts? That's like two contracts.
what is it? Because for me, what do? I do 300 per day because it's a fresh account, and I do 200 on my first trade. I'm trying to think. I can't think of the math for some reason. 200 on my first trade, and then if I lose that one, 100 on second trade, and then if I lose that one, that's my max loss. Max loss on trading day. Yeah. So for you, you can do two. Yeah, you could split it up into two trades, 100. And if, like I said, if you're concerned about top step requires over $200 winning day, A, you shouldn't be focused on that. You should be focused on learning how to trade, like we all should be right now. And B, the risk reward makes up for it. You're fine. You're fine.
Well, on those accounts, I am already eligible for a payout. It's just
Yeah.
obviously
$67
in drawdown.
I just don't want you to focus on the wrong thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Because some people, like I mentioned this in probably like Trading Day Journal 3. I was like, maybe I should just like have a random system where I full port to draw on liquidity $100 winning day so I could, get my winning day. No, don't do that. I checked myself instantly right after. I was like, no, don't do that. Because like I said, I still have these thoughts too. I'm human. And I'm still learning and refining and, trying to do my best. So 100, you could just split it into two trades. Okay. And if you need to calculate your risk. But make sure you calculate your risk. Don't over risk. If you're going to do anything under risk, and I used to be, I don't want to under risk. The risk reward makes up for it, I promise. This trade ran to 6R. That is ridiculous to me because we used to trade 1-to-1R. So if I want to target most probable draw, that was 3R. Not every trade will be 3R, 4R. It'll be 2R. Average, that will be your average RR. But I'm just letting you know. So, and don't go break even. You will not do any break even trades. So,
no break even.
No break even. You can figure out whether or not you want to do multiple take profits pertaining to your draws. But me personally, I don't. If you want to trade exactly how I trade, I don't. I don't do break, meaning, yes, when price action hit my draw on liquidity right here, I was up 3R and reversed all the way to the upside. I did not do nothing. I wasn't thinking about closing my trade. I was thinking about, because I just didn't do nothing. I just let price do its thing. Guess what it did? Dumped. Don't do nothing. If you want to fully take advantage of this model, how I'm taking advantage of it right now, and will, hopefully continue to, unless, something happens, whatever the case is, don't do nothing. Let the trade run. Let your trade do its thing. The only thing I'm giving you permission to really do is add multiple take profits if you want. But if you add multiple take profits, just know inherently your profit on profit, whatever, will be slightly de-risked because, multiple take profits, scaling out of position, whatever. But that's the only thing I'm giving you permission to do. Everything else, no break-evens, always SL above the change of state of delivery, regardless of how many points it is. Always, always, always. And so, yeah.
Either the recent swing high or swing
always, yes. Always same confidence. Okay. I mean, you could go back, watch this. I'm about to upload this on YouTube right now, but any questions?
Yeah, and I have my own recording too, but yeah, that was pretty much everything. And don't forget, if you could send me your trading journal.
Yes, I will.
Bro, other than that, bro, I really appreciate you. I got work at 3 o'clock, so I have to really get
going. Go get ready.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Of course, always.
If anything, if I am struggling again, we can have a follow-up call Saturday, you.
Yeah, let's see how you perform this week, and if we need to have another one, another hour call,
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I do have a friend coming in town. So we can have that on Saturday real quick.
Okay.
But obviously, you message in the Discord whenever. So I'm always there regardless. And, DM me. I'm always here. Text me.
Yeah. I always send my trades to the Discord.
Yeah.
And then
so I'll help you refine it where you need to or whatever the case is. Let me know how you're doing psychologically even with these trades, because in the beginning you will have lack of confidence. You'll see that when I share my journal with you. Because I wasn't confident and took a while, but now the confidence is there. And I still struggle with lack of confidence at times too. And that's fine. But it takes time.
Yeah.
But anywho, no more questions.
No more questions, bro. Thank you so much.
Okay. Love you, Ant. Reach out to me if you need
Love
anything.
you, bro.
All right. Peace,
Okay.
man.
Adios. Peace.